Welcome children. Today I am here with another grade 9 science lesson. Our lesson is Human Circulatory System. Human circulatory system is consist of two types of organs. They are heart and blood vessels. This system is a closed system. Inside the blood vessels and the heart, there is the materials all over the body. The materials transported by the blood are oxygen, nutrients, excretory products, so on. In the given diagram, you can see a structure of human circulatory system. There you can see the blood vessels spread all over the body and the heart. Now we are going to discuss about heart. Heart is situated in the chest cavity between the lungs. It has slightly to the left side. It is approximately the size of a closed fist of a person. The heart is made of a specific type of muscles called cardiac muscles. The function of the heart is pumping blood into the blood vessels. When pumping blood, the cardiac muscle contractions occur rhythmically. These contractions we call it as heartbeat. The structure of heart. In the picture, you can see how a heart is beating. When we consider about the structure of the heart, it has 4 chambers. The upper chambers are called atria and the lower chambers are called ventricles. Ventricles are larger than the atria and the walls of ventricles are thicker than atria walls. The chambers have named according to their positions as left atrium, right atrium, left ventricle and right ventricle. This diagram shows a longitudinal section of human heart. You can see the right side and the left side of the heart very clearly. These two sides are separated by the septum, and the atria and ventricles are separated by the valves. Also, here you can see some blood vessels are connected with the heart. There are 2 types of valves in heart. They are cuspid valves and semilunar valves. Cuspid valves are situated between the atria and ventricles. There are 2 The bicuspid valve or the mitral valve is in between the left atrium and the right ventricle. the left atrium and left ventricle. And the tricuspid valve is in between the right atrium and right ventricle. The second type of the valve is semilunar. Two semilunar valves in the heart. They are at the starting points of the main arteries. Aortic semilunar valve is at the starting point of aorta, and the pulmonary semilunar point of the pulmonary artery. In these given two diagrams, you can see the position and the structure of these valves. Look at the first diagram. There you can see the cross-sectional views of each valve. And the second diagram shows how these valves are functioned. When the cuspid valves are open, at the same time the semilunar valves has closed. When the cuspid valves close, semilunar valves open. This process goes in a rhythm. Now let's see what are the main blood vessels that connected with the heart. Two main arteries and two types of main veins are connected to the heart. The arteries that connected with the heart are aorta and pulmonary artery. Aorta is started from the left ventricle. The pulmonary artery starts from the right ventricle. The superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava are the largest vein in our body. They are open to the right atrium. Left and right pulmonary veins are open to the left atrium. There are 4 pulmonary veins. This diagram shows how the blood, you can see atria filled with blood at once. Then the cuspid valves open and that blood move into the ventricles. When the ventricle walls contract, those blood go into the arteries. This is occur as a cycle. Here you can see a beating heart. It's a real diagram. The second diagram shows an ECG record of heart beating. The large gaps show the ventricle contractions. Okay, now let's move to study the blood vessels. Blood vessels make a pathway to transport blood all over the body. These blood vessels are a complex system. Always a blood vessel open to another blood vessel or into the heart. It means blood is always flowing inside the blood vessels or inside the heart. There are 3 types of blood vessels in human body. They are arteries, capillaries and veins. In the given diagram, in the left you can see an artery. It has colored in red color. In the right side you can see a vein. It has colored in blue. In between the artery and the vein, there is a network of capillary. The blood vessels that take blood away from the heart are known as arteries. They bring blood to the body organs from the heart. Now you know there are two main arteries that start from the heart. They are pulmonary artery and aorta. The pulmonary artery starts from the right ventricle and transport blood to the lungs from heart. Aorta start from the left ventricle and supply blood to the other organs of our body. Within an organ, an artery further divides into arterioles. And then those arterioles are again divided into the capillaries. In the given diagram, you can see the arteries that supply blood into the heart. We call those blood vessels as coronary arteries. Coronary arteries are the first branches that divide from veins. The blood vessels that take blood toward the heart are called veins. They collect blood from the body organs and bring to the heart. Three main veins are open to the heart. Now you know that. Those are pulmonary vein, superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. The pulmonary veins start from the lungs. They take the blood to the left atrium. Superior vena cava start from the upper side from the heart. It brings blood to the right atrium. Superior vena cava collect blood from the organs above or over to the heart level, like brain, hands, neck. Okay. The inferior vena cava bring blood from the lower level to the heart. The organs like legs and the digestive system. Inferior vena cava also bring blood to the right atrium. The capillaries in the organs join together to form a venule. These venules join together to form a vein. All these veins are connected into the superior vena cava or the inferior vena cava. Capillaries. Capillaries are the smallest blood vessels in the body organs. Always an artery ends from a capillary and a vein starts from a capillary. In the first diagram, you can see how the capillaries are larger blood vessels. And the other diagram shows the capillaries in a hand of a man. Now let's consider the structure and the nature of these three types of blood vessels. The structure and the nature of walls of each type of blood vessel is different to each other. The artery walls are thicker and elastic. It has adapted to withstand the high pressure of blood pumping from the heart. The vein walls are thin and less elastic. The blood pressure in veins is low, so that there are valves inside the veins to prevent the backflow of blood. It helps to transport blood inside the veins against gravity. You know that the capillaries are the smallest type of blood vessels. So, their walls consist only a single cell layer. They are spread among the body cells so that they allow the body cells to exchange nutrients, respiratory gases and with blood. Given diagram shows a comparison among each type of blood vessel. Okay, now we have discussed about the parts that are in the circulatory system. Now we are going to discuss another specific material that is related with this circulatory system. It is blood. Blood is the main transport medium in human body. It is a mixture of water, cells, dissolved substances and insoluble substances. There is approximately 5.5 liters of blood in a healthy man and nearly 5 liters of blood in a healthy woman. When we consider about the composition of blood, 55% of its volume is in liquid form. We call this as the plasma. And 45% is its volume consists of corpuscles or the blood cells. It is the solid form of blood. This chart shows the components of blood. We can divide blood into corpuscles and plasma. Corpuscles can divide again into red blood cells or erythrocytes or leukocytes and platelets. There are 5 types of white blood cells. Those are neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, lymphocytes and monocytes. Plasma of the blood include with water, things soluble in water and the things insoluble in water. The soluble things are like salts and nutrients and also the excretory products. The insoluble things are the hormones, enzymes and some proteins. Functions of the components of blood. First we discuss about erythrocytes. Red blood cells contain red pigments which is called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin carries oxygen from lungs to the body cells. They also gives the red color to the blood. red blood cells are the mostly contained type of cells in the blood. You can see these red blood cells have a specific shape. This is a biconcave shape. And the lower diagram shows you how the red blood cells flow inside a blood vessel. White blood cells are the defenders of our body. They defend our body by destroying the pathogens or producing antibodies. There are 5 types of leukocytes. I told you before, their names are neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, lymphocytes and monocytes. In the first diagram, you can see the structure of each type of white blood cell. And the lower diagram shows how a white blood cell catch a bacteria to defend our body. Platelets. Platelets help in the clotting process of blood at a bleeding site. Some virus infections cause a rapid decline in platelets percentage. Therefore, the platelet count helps to diagnose some infective diseases like dengue, leptospirosis. We further discuss about this clotting process in the future of this lesson. Blood plasma. The main function of plasma is transporting substances which are dissolved in it. For examples, you have given the transporting of the digestive products, minerals and vitamins into the cells. Transporting the excretory products within the cells, excretory organs. Transporting hormones, enzymes and proteins to the relevant parts of the body. And also transporting exhaling gases. Exhaling gases mean carbon dioxide. Produced within the cells to the lungs. Okay, now let's move to discuss about the blood groups. There are 4 blood groups found in humans. They are A, B, AB and O. The blood groups depend on the specific component of protein contained on the surface of red blood cells. These proteins are called as antigens. Also, in the plasma of those persons, there is another type of protein called antibody. These 2 types of proteins determine the blood group of a person. In this table, you can get an idea how these antibodies and the antigens act to create a blood group. You can get a rough idea from that table. The blood group of a person is a genetically determined factor. It determined according to the blood groups of your parents. Then Rhesus factor. Rhesus factor is another type of protein or antigen which contains on the red blood cells. There are two types according to the presence or absence of Rhesus antigen. Some of them are Rhesus positive. It means they have Rhesus factor. Rhesus negative person, they don't have the Rhesus factor in their red blood cells. Considering the Rhesus factor, blood groups can be divided further as shown in the table. Rhesus positives are A positive, B positive, AB positive and O positive. Rhesus negatives are A negative, B negative, AB negative and O negative. Blood transfusion. The transfer of blood from one individual to another is known as blood transfusion. The person who donates blood, we call him as the donor. The person who receives blood is the recipient. Blood transfusion is not possible between any two individuals. For transfusion of blood, check the compatibility of blood groups and also the Rhesus factor. Okay, now let's see how we can check the compatibility of blood groups. In the table, you can see what are the compatible blood groups and what are the incompatible blood groups. A person can donate blood to another person with the same type of blood group. It means A person can donate blood into and B1 can donate blood into another B person. But B person cannot donate blood to A recipient. Like that, you can get an idea how these donor and the recipient with each other. According to this, you can get an idea that AB can receive blood from any other blood group. So we call him as the universal recipient. O can donate to all other blood groups, but he cannot receive from another. So we call O as the universal donor. Following diagram will help you to get an idea about blood group compatibility further. Look at this. A donor can donate blood into A recipient and also a B recipient. B donor can donate blood into a B recipient and also a B recipient. But AB donor can donate only into a AB recipient. But O donor can donate into A recipient, B recipient, AB recipient and also O recipient. Compatibility of Rhesus factor. Here also we have to check the compatibility of Rhesus. You can see that in the given table. Rh positive one can donate only to another Rh positive one, but Rh negative recipient cannot take blood from Rh positive donor. But Rh negative donor can donate to a Rh positive and Rh negative recipients. The diagram also will explain the method of compatibility of Rhesus factor between Rh donors. This table shows the all-over compatibility of these blood groups and Rhesus factors. The black color correct marks show the compatible events, and the red color crosses show the incompatible matches. Blood agglutination. It means clumping of the transfused blood particles in the body of the recipient. This can bring lethal effects to the recipient. It leads very dangerous effects. Sometimes the patient can be dead according to the blood agglutination. Agglutination can be taken place in two incidents. The first one is the blood group of the donor and the recipient are incompatible. So that we call that's why we mention that always the compatibility must check when donating blood. The other event is during a childbirth of a child. Mother's blood and the baby's blood can mix. If the mother is a Rh negative but the baby is a Rh positive baby, the mother's body recognizes the baby as a Rh positive foreign substance and make antibodies in the mother's body. So due to this action, these antibodies act against the baby's blood and baby blood can be agglutinated. This process can happen mostly in the second childbirth of a Rh negative mother. To prevent this agglutination during childbirth, the rogum injection is given to the mother after her first childbirth. In the diagram you can see a normal blood sample and an agglutinated blood sample. When the blood is agglutinated, the oxygen transporting process become malfunction. That brings the dangerous effects to the recipient or that Rh positive baby when in the childbirth. Okay, the next one is blood clotting or coagulation. This is different from agglutination. Now we know agglutination is a dangerous effect, but coagulation is an important process that prevents excessive bleeding. When there is an injury or internal bleeding, the platelet vessels deposited on the wounds and they break down. In the diagram you can see the procedure of depositing the platelets on a wound. Also, the protein fibers come through the blood are collected on this wound, and the resulting chemical process form a blood clot to stop bleeding. Coagulation process help to protect our blood from wasting. Of Sri Lanka. The blood transfer service situated in Narahimpitta is the responsible institute for blood transfusion in Sri Lanka. It is a WHO collaborating center. According to their advisors, a blood donor must fulfill a list of qualifications. For an example, the age of the donor must be above 18 years and below 60 years. The body mass should be more than 50 kilograms of the donor. If previously donated person, at least 4 months should be elapsed since the date of previous donation. Then hemoglobin level should be more than 12 grams per deciliter. To check this, always when donating blood, we must check our hemoglobin level in each time when we donating our blood. The donor must be free from any disease or any serious condition like pregnancy. And also the donor should have a valid identity card or any other document to prove their identity. And also the donors must be free from the risk behaviors such as drug addictions and the prostitution. When donating blood, the donor has to complete the blood donor declaration correctly before donate the blood. Also, they must before donate blood. Usually, blood donors get a booklet to record their blood donation details. A person can donate blood in every 4 months' time. Sri Lankan Blood Donation Service provides a totally free service and volunteer citizens can donate blood. Approximately 450 milliliters to 500 milliliters of blood at a time. In the diagram, it is show the booklet that is given to the donors by the National Blood Transfusion Service. Okay, now we have reached to the final part of our lesson. We know that the blood circulatory system is a very important system in our body. So we have a responsibility to maintain our blood circulatory system in a proper way. So here are the measures that we have to take to protect our blood circulatory system. A person have to maintain a peaceful mind, and also they have to engage in physical exercises daily. It helps to keep our heartbeat rate in a proper way, and it increase the blood circulation. Maintaining the BMI is also very important. It means we have to keep a good body weight according to our height. On the other hand, we have to care about our diet. We should have a healthy diet. Here we have to eat more vegetables and fruits, and we have to reduce the salt and sugar consumption, and it is better to lower the consumption of fatty foods. Controlling the conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes is also good to our blood circulatory system. If someone is suffering from these diseases, it is better to have regular medical checkups and getting suitable medicines. To maintain a healthy blood circulatory system, people have to refrain from smoking and liquor. If someone have of the diseases like heart attacks, high blood pressure and diabetes, it is very important to having concern about their health more than a normal person. This diagram shows the summary that we discuss about the well-being of a person to protect the blood circulatory system. So this is the end of our lesson. I hope